Hey GP, hey God's people. My name is Trinity Leah. If this is your first time to the channel, welcome. And if you know G, welcome back to another video. As you can read by the title, we are going to do a get ready with me as we talk about, red flags, making sure he's the right one, all the good things of singleness, and just not settling for less because you are single and you want a relationship. So if that interests you, then keep on watching. You are chosen for beautiful things. If you want to know any of these products, they'll be listed down below, because if I go back and forth and telling you what each product is, I know myself, I'm going to forget where I left off, and I don't want to do that. So just look in the description box and you'll find everything that you need. Okay, so I do want to preference this story that I am about to share with you guys with stating that this guy that I'm about to talk about, he's a good guy, but he's just not my guy. You know, he's gonna be great for somebody else, but he's just not for me. And that's really the whole point of this video, is to understand who you are in Christ, and then also understanding that every person that comes up to you in a relationship setting, every person that comes up to you is not for you, and that is totally okay. But we have to know and decipher our worth and understand it, and then we'll be able to be like, yes, this person is a great person and I'm compatible with, or no, like they're good, they're awesome, but they're just not for me. One day I was at the gym, probably like in March, and this gentleman came up to me. And if you do not know, now you know. I love a good old school gesture. So if a person comes up to me and talks about like how they want to get to know me, or they see me and they think I'm beautiful, like brownie points to them, because one, I know that is not an easy thing for a guy, because you just never know like if you will be rejected. So always brownie points for the person, and brownie points to him because he did that. So he came up to me and he was like, hi, I think you're very attractive, yada, yada, yada. Can I get your Instagram? And again, a gentleman off rip, he was like, do you have a boyfriend? I said no. And then he was like, okay. And then we proceeded to swap Instagrams. And when we did that, I didn't really notice at first because I finished my whole workout. When I got into the car, then I began to look at his profile. And the first thing that I noticed that I genuinely will say was a red flag for me was that in the bio it said spiritually driven. I do not know about anybody else. I hope that everybody on here doesn't want to be spiritually driven. We want to be Holy Spirit driven. So the fact that I saw that, I kind of didn't want to rule him out right then and there, but because I wanted to one day, just talk to him about it and like what he means by that, because I didn't want to just shut nobody down right off rip. But that truly for me was a personal, like really big red flag, because I'm just like, what do you mean by that? So I kind of just, brushed past it and I went along with it. And we began to start talking. And honestly, he was in the DM. I mean, I think we only talked for like maybe a couple of hours in Instagram. And he seemed like a really cool, chill guy. And I was like, okay, like I can kind of see, it possibly going somewhere. Maybe not fully marriage, but at least maybe a couple dates or a good friendship, right? So then we, talked for a couple of hours, and then I'm guessing like he didn't want to continue talking on there anymore. So he personally told me and gave me his number and said, if you want to talk more or something like that, then to text him. And that honestly, personally, for me, was a red flag. Now, some people may think that was too extreme. Some people may think, oh, that's just like, that's not a big deal. But for me, that was honestly a big red flag, because I'm like, you did so good. Like, you did so good in talking to me and coming up to me and approaching me in person. And so now I would just expect you to keep that same pursuit. And I think that's what it was. Like, I want a person, like a male, to really, really pursue me. And if you're not doing that, then I don't even want to honestly like really continue. But I didn't want to think too far in it, because he did, so this is me again. So I saw that, but I kind of dumbed it down. So I was like, he did reach out to me first in the gym. He did pursue me and ask me for my Instagram, and he did first DM me first. So I'm just like, let's not cancel him out just yet. So we continue on. Throughout the texting, I personally felt away. Meaning, like, I personally felt like I had to backspace multiple things, in a sense of like, I didn't want to over text him. And I do not want that feeling. Honestly, I hate that feeling when I feel like I can't text how I want to text. Like, I'm a long paragraph, multiple texter, emoji, like I use it all. And if I personally don't feel like I can do that comfortably, I don't want that in a relationship. I want to feel comfortable. I want to feel like I'm not going to be bothering you. And it really did feel like at a certain time that I was bothering him. And he just didn't verbally say like, oh, you were doing too much or anything. But I just read his messages and how he was responding, and he wasn't giving that same energy or that same response. So I'm just like, I don't know if I'm doing too much. And again, I hate that feeling. So throughout the time of us texting, I began to retract on how much I would talk to him. And then I would go like an hour or two and kind of match. If he didn't text me for 2 hours, then I didn't text him for 2 hours. And again, I do not want that in a relationship, especially now. And so I was just like, at this point, I was done. And honestly, it did get to a point where I felt like that was just too much for me. And I did stop messaging for like a whole day. Like a whole day went by, or maybe not a whole day, but a good amount of hours went by where I did not text this person, because I was just like, look, I don't even want to deal with this. I don't want to go down this rabbit hole. I don't want to allow feelings to get involved. So the best thing to do is for me to just cancel it. Fast forward until when I just kind of thought about it and thought like how that was kind of childish of me. So then I responded, and I didn't let him know, because I don't want a person to switch up because I said something. I want you to just automatically do. But I just, just try to not think about it too much. Oh, and if I didn't mention it, that was personally red flag number 3 for me. And then one day I saw something on his Instagram, and I was like kind of taken aback, but not like fully. But I asked him a question about it, and he graciously answered honestly, and he said, is that a deal breaker? And I personally, and I don't want to say what it is, but I personally was like, yes it is, but I know you are just a good person, you are a genuine person, and I know that one day, one day a person will find you really good, or something like that. So that was the end of that, and I messed up that eyebrow. Ew. Okay, I honestly think I hate my eyebrows, but I'm not gonna go back. But just know these are not the best eyebrows of my whole entire existence of doing my makeup. That was really kind of the end all be all of that for me. And why am I bringing this story up? Like, what is the purpose of honestly bringing this story up that I know really had no real fruit for real? But in all honesty, it really did. And I honestly thank God for the situation, because it taught me, one, so much about myself, and I'm also allowed to, just share some things that I've learned and what I want to, share just from this story alone to you guys. And number one thing that I learned is it is crucial for you to know your worth. It is crucial for you to understand who you are, and not just like oh, I'm a basketball player, oh, I'm a baseball player, I'm a softball player, oh, I sing at the church. Like, no. Identifying yourself in Christ. And I think I may do a message about that. So stay tuned, because that is honestly really, really powerful. And especially in today's society, because today's society, people lose themselves in just the culture and wanting to try to fit in with the world. And I get it. I understand it. I've been there before. Sometimes I have to jump off the ledge of thinking that way myself, but that nothing will fulfill you or sustain you in this life but the love of Jesus, but identifying and knowing who you are in Jesus Christ, because you'll always be searching for something to fulfill you, something to make you feel something. But if you have an understanding and a relationship with Jesus, then that is what will really keep you grounded. If you have a true, firm foundation in Him, that is what is going to propel you forward. So understanding that in this story, or understanding in this thing that I experienced, is just quick. It was like 3 days, but understanding that and grabbing a hold to that in those 3 days, like, I was truly grateful that I had my self-worth, that I had identity in Him, that I wasn't just going to fall for this one person because he was there. And I want to, guys and girls, want you to understand that when we see people's red flags, like, those red flags may not have been a red flag to you, but for me, as I'm growing and understanding myself during this season and time, those were red flags for me. So I know I don't want a person who makes me feel a certain type of way when we are talking. I know I want a person who is always continuously pursuing me. I know I want a person that doesn't have the deal breaker that I didn't mention. Like, I know I don't know the person that God has for me, but I do know He won't make me be with a person that when I see those red flags, or when those red flags flare up, I feel bad on the inside. I feel negative. I feel a dark cloud, or I feel like I'm retracting and going back to old ways. Like, I know that is not the person that God has for me. Now, again, I don't want to say that in saying that he was not a great guy, or a person is not a good person, but just know that they can be a great guy, but not your guy. They can be a phenomenal woman, but not your woman. So again, why am I saying this? I want us to know and understand that, and I know you've heard it before, multiple times before. I feel like I've even said it on one of my other videos. Ow! My leg fell asleep. I know I probably said it before in my other video, that I'll probably link up here. But singleness is a blessing. It is not a curse. Singleness will have you doing things that you probably would not have done if you were in a relationship, or if your time was taken up with dating frequently. Like, singleness is a time where you truly understand who you are in Christ, what you like to do, what you don't like to do. Because in the single, and I was I was talking to my sisters about this topic not too long ago, but like, yes, we want a relationship. Yes, if you're single, you want a relationship, but we shouldn't be so desperate that we will fall in the trap of a person who is not equally yoked for us, right? So in that singleness time, we understand who we are. We understand our likes and our dislikes, what we will stand for, what we don't stand for. So when a person comes up to us and we kind of, vet them out a little bit, talk to them for a little bit, we see, okay, like this person is a great person, but they're just not for me. In the singleness season, we begin to understand understand our purpose in life, and understanding that we just can't fall for any person. Because when people first see your Instagram or just see your, your platforms, it should speak to who you are. So if all they see is you just partying and drinking, I'm going to just think you're a partier and drinker. I'm not going to think you're a person of a man of God who saves all these lives by going on live and, talking about the love of Jesus. I'm not going to think that. I'm going to literally, not think the worst, but just think that your mindset is in a different space right now. So during this singleness time, it's important for us to really understand who we are, understand and walk in our purpose, and begin to do that. So when when a person comes into our life, we, vet them out and see if it's worth the time. Because if I didn't understand who I was, and if I didn't understand my purpose and season, then I would have settled, and I would have, been like, let's see where this could go. But now that I know who I am, now that I know where I am going, I can't be with a person who, I just can't be with any person. I can't be with anybody. That is what I'm trying to say. And as we are Christians and as we are believers, you can't be with anybody else. You can't be with just anybody. You have to be with a person who literally knows their purpose. And that's why it's so crucial in this singleness time to understand your purpose. So you have to be with a person who knows their purpose and is walking that out. And when y'all get together, hopefully, your purpose is aligned and y'all are able to push each other further into it. So going back to when I felt a certain type of way, when I was told to message him or text him first. Granted, most people, they wouldn't have seen that as a red flag, but I did. Now, why did I do that? Why was my mindset like that? And I believe that I'm wanting to lean more into that, feminine, Proverbs 31 woman, just being a woman overall mindset. So I would want my person who is for me to really wholeheartedly pursue me. And like they say in that saying, if a man wanted to, he would. So if a man really wanted to get to know you, and ladies, for you, this is for you, like if a man really wanted to get to know you, he wouldn't leave you questioning. He wouldn't leave you feeling a certain type of way when y'all are texting. He wouldn't want you to feel like, oh, he doesn't have interest in you. He will literally, and I've seen this time and time again, and just hearing stories from just close friends who are in a relationship, they were in a relationship where, their previous relationship, they were the ones doing the most. They were the one exerting themselves. Oh, here's my number. If you want to message me, here's my number. They were the one moving the chess pieces. But when they found their kingdom partner, when God allowed them to, be with each other and see each other, the male was the one who was their current relationship now. The male was the one who seeked after them. The male was the one who wanted to put themselves in front of her to make her see him. And the male was the one doing all of the chasing. And I want a chaser. I want a person who literally will hunt me down to get my number, or hunt me down to make sure that I'm okay, to make sure that they know that I know that they're not playing games, that they're all in for me, that to make me feel not less than, make me understand that, make me feel the love that Christ loved the church. As we know, as Christian women, like, we're not just looking for boys, we're looking for our husbands. So it says in the Bible, for husbands, love your brides as Christ loved the church. So I want a person who literally loves me enough and loves me as Christ loved the church. And we all know that Christ, he was not playing, okay, when it came to his Father's house. He was not playing when he wanted to teach people about the love of Jesus. He was not playing when he wanted the disciples to get the parable. Child, I read a story last night that I can't wait to share with you guys. But I read a story last night, and he was telling these disciples, why are y'all so dumb? Like, why can y'all not understand this? Like, why aren't y'all not getting it? And it's because his passion was so much there. It was so evident, and it was so like in him that he wanted to share that love. He wanted to share the love of his Father. But people weren't getting it. All that to say, I want a person who literally loves me just as much. I know I will not settle. That is the beauty of singleness. That truly is the beauty of singleness. And one of the best lessons that you could learn is you will learn to do not settle. That as we are single, yes, we want someone, but we just don't want anyone. We want a husband. We want a man of God. We want a God-fearing man, a Christian God-fearing man. Like, we're not settling. And until the Lord leads us to that person and that person finds us, we are going to be doing what we are called to do, which is steward over our ministry, steward over our purpose and our goals, and do it well and in excellence. That truly is the main purpose of this video, to really understand your red flags and not overlook those red flags. So there's personal red flags, and then it's just the general red flags. Like, there's some red flags that it's like, okay, that should be on everybody's list. Just making sure that we are not settling just because we are single is key. Okay, guys, this is the final makeup look. And if you also want to know a little bit more details about my hair and the products that I've used, then go check out this video right here, because it will give you all that information. But I hope everyone grabbed at least one thing from this video, so you can take in your current season of singleness, or you can share with somebody, a friend who's in their singleness season. And if you are in a relationship or in a marriage or just any season in your life, feel free to drop some tips and tricks down below in the comments for our single girls and sirs, because we just want to make sure that we are doing the right thing during this season. But again, hopefully I said something that you can at least take one thing from. And yeah, so don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe, because more videos like this are soon to come. And remember what I always say, your fears cannot go where you are headed, because you are going somewhere mighty great. Peace.
You are chosen for beautiful things.